Hello and welcome to Vegan Cafe 21. Today we are making vegan gluten-free cashew rolls. So let's get started. To make our cashew rolls, we are going to use 3 cups or by weight 1 pound of cashew pieces. You don't need beautiful looking cashews, whole cashews for this. Just broken pieces would do just fine. To make our simple syrup, we will use 1 cup of sugar. This is 8 ounces by weight. Half a cup of water. For filling inside our cashew rolls, we are using 1 cup of raw unsalted pistachios. By weight, they are about 5 ounces. We will sweeten our filling with 3 tablespoons of powdered sugar. By weight, I would say roughly about 1 ounce. We are going to flavor our cashew rolls with half a teaspoon of finely ground green cardamom seed powder. If you don't like cardamom seed powder, you can use half a teaspoon of rose water instead, or some saffron if you like, or skip flavoring completely. They are delicious without anything as well. Here I have 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. Our first order of business is to grind these cashew pieces into fine powder. I'm going to use my food processor. If you have a grinder jar that you want to use, feel free to use that. Now use pulse motion to start with because they do release a lot of fat and it can clump at the bottom of your food processor. So we will start with pulsing and then grind it into a fine powder. Done. Now we're not going to worry too much because we have to sift this anyway. So if there are any bigger pieces, we can take whatever is in our sifter and run it again. It may help to use a spatula or a spoon to pass it through the sifter. As you can see, our fine powder is in the bowl, and I have some coarsely ground nut left in the sifter, so I'm going to transfer it back into my food processor jar and run it a few more times and bring it back to the sifter. All right, so our cashew powder is ready. Now in the same grinder jar, I'm going to grind our pistachios for our filling. And done. If there are a few small size bits left in it, don't worry about it. It doesn't have to be a really fine powder, and we are not going to sift this either. So just transfer it into our bowl, and to it we are going to add our powdered sugar and just a little bit of the cardamom seed powder that we have here. Not too much, maybe a third of what we have. Now we are going to let it sit and wait on the side while we prepare our cashew. Now we move over to the stove top. Here I have a pot to which I'm going to add our sugar and water. Increase the heat so your sugar and water mix comes to a quick boil. Give it a quick stir. Now once your sugar melts, you can bring the heat down to medium, but make sure you maintain the bubble. Now to check if our syrup is where we need it to be, we are going to take a drop in a bowl. Once it's cool enough to touch, you dip your index finger in it and put it between your thumb and your index finger and pull it apart. We are looking for a 1-string consistency. You see how when I pull it apart, you see a string forming? That's how far you want to take your syrup. Now that our syrup is ready, we are going to add our cashew powder to this syrup. Turn your heat low at this point. Start mixing it in. I'm going to keep adjusting my flame between medium and low, but you don't want to burn the bottom of this batter. It's thickening up nicely. Now we add our cardamom seed powder and half of this coconut oil that we have here. We'll use the rest to grease our work surface. Keep moving it to make sure it doesn't stick to the bottom of your pot. You will know it's getting very close to being ready when it starts leaving the sides and the bottom of the pot. Non-stick pot is the best in my experience for this process. All right, we are at a good point now. So I am now going to turn the flame off and keep stirring it because this pot is still very hot and we can still burn the bottom if we don't. Now while this cools off, I am going to prepare my work surface to prepare our rolls. Here I have lined a board or your counter surface with parchment paper, and to our pistachio powder I'm going to add just a little bit of this cashew mixture. Maybe about 2 tablespoons. The idea is to pull this into a soft dough. It's cold enough to touch, so I'm going to use my fingers. You can add a tablespoon of water and that should help bring it together. So now we are going to place it on the side, and eventually we are going to make a log out of this to stuff into our cashew. Now I'm going to grease our parchment paper and get it ready for our cashew paste. Now we are going to transfer our cashew mixture onto our parchment paper. And try to spread it trying to get to a rectangle as close as possible. You can smooth it up a little bit, fold the parchment paper over onto itself, and just use your rolling pin to gently smooth it out. Like that. That's how thick I'm going to keep it. We're going to let it cool down just a little bit so it releases from the paper and it's easy for us to roll it. Just give it probably 3 or 4 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to make a log out of our pistachios. We're going to make a log long enough to fit our cashew dough that we just rolled out. Put it alongside and see if it fits. Just roll it. Yep, perfect. Let's see if it's ready. It's still warm, but let me walk you through our process here. You're going to place it in the middle like this. We can trim the excess. I'm going to turn this paper, and just the way you roll sushi, you just roll over the cashew mix onto your pistachio log. Make sure you grease your hands nicely when you're ready to handle this dough. Let's see if it has cooled enough. Looks like it's cool enough to touch. So now we are going to keep rolling it. Don't worry about it. We can smooth it out once we get the roll released from the paper. Now we are going to stretch this roll. Keep rolling and pulling. I'm going to remove the paper now and just transfer it to my chopping board. To manage it better, I'm going to cut it in half and work with one roll at a time. I'm spreading it gently with my fingers. Spread it with the fingers and smooth it with the palm. Roll it over, and now we work with this log. Now this is how thick I want it to be, so I'm going to get all of them to the same thickness. Now we are ready to cut our rolls. I'm going to keep them about 2 inches, maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches long. Also grease the edge of your knife, that'll help. There you have it. Our cashew rolls, or Kaju rolls as they're called in Hindi, are ready. Look at the pistachio filling. Let me break one and show you how soft they are. See that? I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Please do give it a try. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you again soon with more vegan and gluten-free favorites.